Good morning and welcome to today's Smart Business Strategies podcast. I'm Anna Wiles, the franchise economist, and I am thrilled that you are here today. I have got an amazing franchise to tell you about. It's in the family entertainment space, and I cannot wait for you to meet my guest, Chris King, the CEO and partner of Monster Mini Golf. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Anna. Thanks for having us on. It's a pleasure to spend some time with you today.
I love mini golf. This is not a fad. This is nothing new. It's been around my entire lifetime, and I'm not going to tell you how many decades that was, but it's you need more than one hand. Okay. Okay. So, Chris, tell us a little bit about you and how Monster Mini Golf even came to be.
Yeah, my journey in franchising started about 27 years ago, and I spent about 10 to 15 years with a brand called My Gym. It's in the children's fitness space, and it's really where I cut my teeth. I've always really leaned into the operations and the training side. I was with My Gym when they had about 40 stores, and I helped that company grow to about 360 in 32 countries. And then in 2015, I just felt a little unfulfilled. I couldn't, hop over my 5 best friends. I wanted, a deeper role in leadership. So I stepped out of my comfort zone, and I found Monster Mini Golf. At the time, they had about 17 units. They still needed, to be polished a bit for scale. They needed some systems wrapped around them. So I thought it was a good fit for me. I think something interesting to understand about Monster Mini Golf is it's a legacy brand. It is 21 years old right now. So it's been around forever. We were the first brand to bring mini golf indoors and put it under black lights, really because of necessity, because the founders, Christine and Pat, lived in Danielson, Connecticut. And if you did outdoor mini golf, you could only do it 2 months out of the year. So Monster Mini Golf has been around a long time. So I helped them, the founders, working with them as their COO for about 7 years. And then I decided to become a franchisee. My wife and I relocated from Florida to Charlotte, North Carolina. Since then, we've opened 3 of our own stores. She runs our stores so I can concentrate on the brand. And then something really unique and special happened in April of 22. We were at a franchise advisory council meeting, myself and the founders, on behalf of the company, and then our advisory council. And then after just a very productive day, steering the company, making decisions, really collaborating, the founders looked at us and said, hey, we want to retire. And we were all sitting there like, what does this mean for us? Do we have jobs? What does this look like? Are they already selling it to somebody? And they said, we've been approached by private equity. We've talked to many groups, and it just doesn't feel right for us. What you have to understand about the founders is this was their baby. They did not have children. Yeah. They put everything into this. And they said, we want to turn it over to people that are going to continue our legacy, that we want it to grow, but we want it to grow within what we've done and what we've worked so hard. So they asked the 4 of us, they handpicked us and said, would you guys like to buy it? Now, if you don't want to, we're still going to sell it, but this feels right. And we said, yeah, we want to take a stab at this. So we closed on the deal in January of 2023. And I think the really unique part of this is all of myself and all of my partners are multi-unit operators. So I own 3. My partner, Nick in New Jersey, owns 4. He's been a franchisee in Monster Mini Golf for 18 years. Wow. My partner, Alex, owns 4 in 4 different states. He's been a franchisee for about 12 years. And my partner, Holly, has been with us 10 years, and she owns 2. So the experience and the confidence that it kind of reignited in the brand when we formally took over as owners. And we're not suit and tie behind desk. That's not the executives we are. We are roll up our sleeves, make all of the decisions on what's best for our franchisees, because we're franchisees ourselves. And that's proven to be very special. The last 3 years have been really great, but we've just really held true to that culture.
I love that. So what makes you unique and different is how very franchisee centric you are, and the entire leadership team are multi-unit franchisees of the actual brand. That is just fantastic. I love it. That's wonderful, Chris. Share with the audience, what is the role of the owner? People ask me all the time, what's their role? Are they on the business, or are they in the business, or is it a combination? So please share about that.
it can be what they want it to be, which I believe is very special. We have some people that they don't have to be at their store, but they go to it often because they enjoy it. It's a fun place to be.
Yeah.
It makes you feel good, just like a guest walking in to forget the outside world and have some fun for a little while. The same happens to our people, but it is truly, you can work on your business or in your business. You have that choice. If you hire a great GM, that sees the culture, that really embodies the vision that we have and that the owner has, then you can just lead that person. You can spend the time out in the community, I say shaking hands and kissing babies and really becoming a pillar in the community, working with the school system, the local businesses, your local nonprofit organizations, sport teams. You can spend your time outside the business to grow it, but it is important. In family entertainment, we believe that our success is rooted in the fact that even though our franchise owners don't have to be there, they have their thumb on the pulse of the business. Yeah. They understand the culture. They understand how the experience and the product needs to be presented, and they stay on top of that even if they're not there.
I love that. So they for sure need to work on the business, but also I would think, especially at the beginning, they would want to be integrally involved in the business to learn it and to build the right leadership team and create the culture that's so important to the success of any business, franchise or not. What do you think about that, Chris?
Yeah, you have to understand the business that you purchase. You have to understand the product that you're delivering. So you do have to spend some time inside that business, or then you can't coach the people to run it the way it's supposed to be run. So I totally agree. I totally agree with that. There's an onboarding period that's going to be crucial to the business. And then as you get comfortable and as your team starts to excel, then you can slowly start to back away. And then at that point, it's your choice how much time you want to spend in it and outside of it. But we all know, the more time you spend outside the business trying to grow the business, usually in those scenarios, the more successful the business is going to be.
Right. And what I've seen is that, especially like each of you partners, then it's once you get the first one up and running, then it's wash, rinse, and repeat, and open the second and the third or the fourth or whatever the goals are that the franchisee has.
And even from my own experience, my wife, we have a very good division of workload. I'm with the brand. She runs our local stores. But, once you get that first store open, where you have more human capital, you have people in the first store that can help with the second store, and then vice versa if you want to move to the third. I give the example, my wife runs our stores, and she cumulatively inside the buildings every week now with 3 stores probably spends about 6 hours, a 2-hour meeting each week, independent with each store manager, but in the beginning, she spent the first 4 months there of the first store, but it got easier and easier. But, we have a great life-work balance. She stays on top of those businesses as the owner, but she's not living in those businesses.
Oh, what a great lifestyle business you are. Fantastic. And share with the audience, Chris, what kind of background is required to be a success with a Monster Mini Golf?
Well, our franchisees come from many walks of life. I mean, we have franchisees that were heavy in corporate retail. We have franchisees that were heavy in finance, even with tech companies such as Amazon. And what most people are looking for is just a lifestyle change. And there's a lot of franchises that can present that. Ours presents a lifestyle change, but also gives you something fun that you can become a pillar in that community. Our model is very simple. We don't overcomplicate things. So you don't really have to have, experience in mini golf and family entertainment. We're a legacy brand. For 21 years, we've been doing this. So we have the recipe, we have the playbook, so they really come from all walks of life, and there's not a huge learning curve to what we deliver.
All right. I love that. So pretty much if you have leadership skills and just some good business acumen, you're a good fit for Monster Mini Golf. Is what it sounds like.
Yeah, and the leadership skills are really honed in on leading a team of young people today. This is an environment that we live in today where technology and cell phones, and I mean, they take over, and there's so much screen time. And, our concept is really personalized. It's age appropriate connections with humans. It's not about the tech. It's about, physically touching and connecting with people. So that's really where the leadership is. getting
Yeah.
people to buy into that culture and what we do from a guest experience standpoint. So if you want to, lead a team of young people, to really become, stewards of something special, that's really where the leadership is.
All right. And share with the audience the labor model. You had shared with me that a typical location is 10 to 12,000 square feet. And so what kind of staffing is needed for that?
One important thing to note with us is we actually also own the theming integration company. So we design our spaces. We have an install team that actually installs our golf course and really makes it monster. So with that being said, we design these stores in 10 to 12,000 square feet to have direct lines of sight from the POS or the admissions counter to everywhere. Where that translates to an advantageous labor model is on a slow day, we can operate with 2 people, where most entertainment centers at 30 or 40,000 square foot, they have to have 9 or 10 people there. They don't even get into the black until a Saturday, afternoon, where we don't have that issue. Our entire staff is usually an average of 10 to 15 team members. We have one GM that's kind of the head of the ship, answers to the location owner, really runs things, boots on the ground. Usually there's a 2 to 3, what we would call ship supervisors under them. You trust them to show up on time, open and close the doors, do light training. You can trust them with the finances and the cash and things like that. And then under that, you're talking about, 9 to 10 part-time employees, high school kids, college kids. And, we're heavy on weekends, but the weekends are really you don't need more than 3 to 5 people on any given shift. You raise the labor count when you're booking and you're fully booked out with the birthday parties and events. But the beauty behind that is that's booked business that people have already paid for. So the labor's baked into that. So those events aren't really increasing your labor model. They're just increasing the revenue.
Absolutely. I love your labor model. Okay. This show is called Smart Business Strategies, Chris. You've already shared several that Monster Mini Golf has, but what's a real takeaway that you want the audience to have about Monster Mini Golf, a smart business strategy that y'all use?
The smart business strategy that we've really adopted, and it just takes discipline to do it, is be very comfortable in your own skin, be very comfortable in the model that you have, from a business model standpoint, and stay true to that. Because in our industry, especially family entertainment, there's all kinds of new shiny toys in front of us every day.
Yeah,
we can be saying, hey, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And most of those come in and out like fads. So we've stayed very true to, a very cool guest experience around the game of mini golf. We've stayed true to operational investment and expense responsibility. And we've stayed true to, like you said, that labor model, knowing that, we don't have high labor, but we invest in great people that can put our product out there. So I just think in a world where there's so many things you could do, be very confident in your own skin, and something that works, just really stick to that anchor.
I love that. Yeah, don't try to catch up with the keep up with the Joneses or chase the latest fad. I mean, like I said at the beginning, I've played mini golf and I love mini golf for decades. It's just an awesome family activity. It's just fun. I love it.
Anna, one point that's cool about what you just said about mini golf. Mini golf was the first form of family entertainment. It's been around for over 100 years. And for 100 years, it was profitable as an outdoor seasonal activity. I mean, if you think about that, now you take away the climates and you bring it indoors and you make it more cool and you make it more immersive. That's a trend today in everything's being, made better than it was years ago, but they're sticking to the core of what that activity was.
Absolutely. Love that. So if someone wants to learn more about Monster Mini Golf, Chris, what should they do?
Well, and I think it's kind of obvious. I mean, with your experience, you've been placing people with, the brands that fit them forever. I would say lean into you and your 20 years of experience helping entrepreneurs. So they can reach out to you. You can see if it's a fit. And if it is, you'll get them in touch with us.
Absolutely. I will, Chris. Audience, this is Chris. I want to call you Chris King. I was about to say this is King Chris is what I almost said. Do you love that? King Chris of Monster Mini Golf, CEO and partner. Thank you so much for being here, Chris. It's been a pleasure.
It was my pleasure. Thanks so much, Anna.
Absolutely. Audience, thank you for being here, and be sure to come back next week for another rip-roaring, amazing, awesome, compelling franchise. Make it a priority to be here. Set your alarm, and you're not going to want to miss this 15 minutes because it could absolutely change your life. And may you be wildly wealthy in all areas of your life. I'm Anna Wiles, the franchise economist. See you next week. Bye-bye.